So I did my usual meditation video in the morning at 6 o'clock. I had a bicycle ride and stopped by and watched the ocean. Came back, talked with Greg, who was leaving. He works, he did work at the Maui after those fire problems to help fixing. He's a builder. And he finished and on the way back to Canada. So we had some time. I may add our conversation later because me being here in this backpackers is interesting, as I kind of thought that I may meet different people from different countries, and he is one of them, and I had a little interview here and there. And after that, I had a talk with Americans, two ladies, 20s, early 30s. I'm sure they're younger, and had some talk. One person was gonna stay 1 month, and the other one visited just for a couple of days, all the way from the States. And we shared the background and how we live. That's usually my curiosity, how to live, make the most of it. And one of the reasons why I'm here is with such expectation, or my imagination, my intuition was that I was here 15 years ago, and then I wanted to come back because of the diving. In the summertime is good, and then there's not many people, even though there's traffic for the tourists. This place, not many people, although there are people come and go. Usual stay is 4 days or so, in my estimate. So this person staying 1 month is fairly long, and there are others who stay like 3 months from Argentina and Chile. In my case, I don't know, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, who knows. I just listen to my heart and not make rigid plan. I think that's the way I may live. Well, also depend on my health condition. I think I'm doing fine, but who knows. But I'm carefully being aware of what to eat and do exercise. And my being here, it's kind of like the story of Ikkyu. He's a Zen monk, very famous. And his story was he often stayed at the brothel, the red light district in those houses. I don't know why, but I think that's kind of a Zen monk's nature, that they are anywhere, and often they may be living under the bridge with the homeless. And I would imagine my case is somewhat similar, maybe a curiosity of who we are and what we do and why. But one thing I remember is the Bruce Henderson, who is the founder of the Boston Consulting Group. I had chat with him when he was alive, way back when I joined BCG, Boston Consulting. And one of the attractions of joining the company is working with a bunch of companies, consulting. What's the strategy? How do you improve? And his point was that if you work for the Boston Consulting Group for 3 years, it's like equivalent of working with 3 companies or 5 companies at the same time. You have accelerated learning of how the company may operate or can be better. And I think I use the same kind of idea of meeting people to know how they live, like a case study. I mentioned that the business school, they go through the case studies of various companies. At the BCG, I did similar. But now, dealing with companies and the people, knowing people is critical. So it became a habit of interviewing and sharing ideas to make sense for me and for that person to see the trajectory from the past into the future, how we live. So like those two ladies talking about their background, and they asked my background, and the Greg, the other guy, Samaritan's Purse, that he spent time donating money and the time. And he said there are 1,000 people always trying to help to the project like this, fire damage that caused people to lose house, and maybe the Christian orientation of those and who can help, and for those who need, maybe no insurance, so they do some work, and he's happy doing it. So I interviewed that one. I didn't interview the other two American ladies, but it was also interesting. So as much as the business case studies, human case studies, and including my case study too, to find the passage to live well, doing the best, and hopefully we do what we really like and help the society. And for that to happen, when the environment changes, the things change, we need to always find the way, making the right decision. So like the case of these two ladies, one of the discussion we had that was yesterday was that for whatever reason maybe I was introducing this idea that how do you see the young people responding to the nature of how things are happening in the world? And I think their opinion, the view is that in their age, they passed those kind of, I think the word is messy situation, the new information overload, and all the iPhone, mobiles, this and that, social media. Those two ladies have already grown up to a certain age, so they didn't get into it. Therefore, from their point of view, the younger generation is going through a very difficult time, is their view. I don't know if messy was the situation, but in a way I think that's messy. It depends on how you connect to your friends, social media, digest the information. And one of the points is that the interaction through the digital media is not the same as human to human relationship. And that's what they are concerned about. Yeah, you can compare that to like a business school case studies on paper, and they discuss it, but then in reality you work with the company or consult the company, and then there's a different experiential wisdom that has to come, not the superficial information and make a decision. You may do somewhat with your rational thinking or some insight, but that's not the same as experiential wisdom. So who we are, what we do, where to go, how to make judgment is the eternal question, and everything is impermanent. And I said to those two ladies, it's like a view I have is we need to ride the wave of the ocean, like a surfing. There's wave of all the changes going on, and you have to choose certain direction. That's all you can do. And you may fall. Then you try to get another wave and make the best of it. So this is what it is, probably, that there's a conceptual ideas of how to live, read a book and all that. But experiential idea of how we live has to be has to come together to make sense of it. So I captured some of the ideas after my awakening in 2000. I saw this piece, you may call it essay, that I produced, several years since that. So it's 15 years ago, I captured the idea of thy will be done is essential phrase and the idea that I got. And I wrote years ago, and I was surprised. And I thought, well, that understanding is pretty much the same or even better than who I am and how I think, how I digest, because it was vivid. But still, that's not it. It's just life is actual act, not the book knowledge. And for that, experiential wisdom, compassion is what we are after. Not to be understand, but understanding is not understanding if we cannot act upon it. So the process continues to live, and I like to re-energize myself to go over what has happened, captured, summarized, essays, reading, and perhaps going back again to re-energize myself to make sure not my will, but the will of the universe aligned to that, so that the life I live and we live can make sense, aligned with the aim, may all beings be happy. So maybe it's too conceptual, I don't know. Maybe it's too much of bullshit, maybe. I see a rooster passing by with the little chicks following. That's the act of life. It's not in the mind. It's here and now. Be connected. Zenkigen. Bring out the best, utilizing the full potential, and have fun. Thank you. Where you got the energy?
Pardon?
To do so much of this Samaritan stuff, and those 100,000 people coming. And
Where I get the what?
That's the energy, the belief, right?
Oh yeah, well it's from the scriptures, right?
And when did it happen?
Oh, when I was a kid, I guess.
From your parents?
Sort of, yeah. When I was in my 21, I kind of heard about the Bible, and I was always thinking about stuff, and I came to the conclusion that there's a God, and I heard the Christian faith that God wants a personal relationship with us, and He died on the cross for us to take the penalty for our sins, so we can have eternal life.
So what's the turning point, exact moment? Is that the reading or hearing?
I think it kind of grew on me, yeah.
Okay.
I had to make a decision. I had to make a choice to pursue it. Before I used to kind of like rebel about it. I didn't want to do it, because we're all born in the flesh, right? From the first Adam, we all have a sin nature, right?
Yeah.
And a rebellious streak in us, and so I kind of rejected a lot of.
And you had some issue of living the suffering or difficulty of looking at poor people and all of the other external environment influencing you?
I don't think so. I was
You just
working.
came inside.
Yeah, I was a mechanic. I was doing well. I had a lot of hot rods and cars, and
Right.
I was doing my thing, But
You're in Canada, right?
in Canada,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was kind of just. But I'm curious. I like to learn things, and I wanted to know the facts. I want to know the truth, and society was kind of. I guess I was bouncing around like a cork on a sea of Gentiles, So I kind of just thinking, well, where's the line and who draws it? So I started reading the Bible, and I thought,
Right.
well, if God's real, I want to know Him, right?
Yeah. So on your own,
Yeah, on
but
my
you
own.
are visiting the churches and all that too.
Yeah, well, a lot of my Christian friends
Right.
that I knew, they're the only guys that weren't going out partying and stuff all the time, right?
Right.
So I kind of started hanging out with them and getting into good, clean fun. We had motorcycles and other things to do. We had groups to,
Right. So it's
nobody-
gradually growing into the.
Yeah.
Into your
It's a process called sanctification in the scriptures,
Right.
regeneration.
Yeah.
It's part to do with salvation. So, we're still living in a fallen, sin-cursed world, and none of us are perfect. So, morning. So, it continues to grow.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be on the right track, right?
Right.
Because it all adds up, and it's, the scriptures are extensive. It covers pretty
So-
well all of creation.
So when you met the Samaritans first, what age was?
Samaritans first?
Yeah. What age was it?
Oh, I knew the family for years, since I was a kid, I guess. Billy Graham and Frank Graham, they're on TV, and
Yeah.
they had things
Right.
going on. My grandparents knew them, and so I had an opportunity. I'm in my 60s,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like volunteering later. They've kind of finished working what they do.
Did you say 60s? Your 60s?
Yeah, I'm in my 60s.
Yeah, right.
So
So that's when you started.
no, I started a while back, I guess, volunteering. Depending what they're doing. If
Right.
it's something I believe in, I don't mind helping people out.
Right.
So,
Wow.
but I am now, and so I have more time to be able to volunteer.
Right.
Before I was working all the time. I was working all that kind of thing.
So in 1 year, how much time you
It
spend?
depends what and where is going on.
50%, 30%?
Oh no. This is a couple weeks here, and then
I
I
see.
hope to do some LA. That's for a weekend. And,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't know what's going to go
Yeah,
on.
depends on that.
It depends on
Yeah.
situation, circumstance. There was a couple of years there's hardly anything going on in Canada. We had some floods up there, and then there's a bunch of fires, and so I helped out with that. And then
Right.
there was nothing for 2 years, and then I was having issues with the border and COVID and flying, and there's stuff going on down here, but I was being falsely accused of stuff at the border, and I had to get all the paper. They were always looking for paperwork, so I finally got all the right paperwork for them. So it all depends.
You feel the people you meet doing the same kind of a help very similar?
No, I
Very
think so.
connected?
Yeah, for sure. It's family.
Yeah, that's a reinforcing of moving forward.
In a way, yeah, it's nice to have connections with people of common faith and stuff.
And you have the other one. One was, I forgot the other day, another organization. This is the motorcycle thing, or?
Oh yeah, Christian Motorcycle Association, CMA. Yeah, they're international. They're all over the world. So I'm into, I have motorcycles and stuff. I got a bunch of them, and I like riding, and it's fun to hook up with a group of people where there's not a bunch of drama. Nothing gets stolen. No, people are easy to get along with. Basically the 10 Commandments are the foundation of civil law under the freedom of Judeo-Christian ethics, right? We got the 10 Commandments that give us civilization. But when people start breaking God's laws, they return to slavery, right? And that's where you get all the chaos and tribalism, and people separating and fighting.
So let me understand this. So the motorcycle organization that you belong to is very connected to the Christianity?
Yeah, they're from all over the world. Yeah, that's international. You can go.
What's the name of it?
CMA, Christian Motorcycle Association.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So those are the two major ones that you...
yeah, they might have one here. I don't know.
Right.
They might have one in Hawaii, but I don't have a bike here. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go on tours or trips. Some people, I was just looking on my Facebook page, and there's some are in Florida right now. Some are down in Idaho. They're all over the place riding around. Some of them Well, this one guy's always riding. You know, he's put 100,000 miles on his Harley in the last year or so, and he's riding all the time. You know, every day I see new video of him in some state somewhere. You know, I don't know where he is.
Do you have those Facebook and communication among the group?
Yeah, yeah. And then when he's back up in Canada, we hook up and do campouts and stuff. So.
Give me one example of I don't know, memorable event.
A memorial event like
Memorable, the things that you felt so good or amazed in the work of Samaritan or any activities.
Yeah, I've got a lot of them. I don't quite think I can pinpoint.
But if you characterize the feeling is elation, the connection to the big.
Yeah,
unknown?
I don't know if there's. You know, I guess it's an Acts. You know, the Bible says that, you know, we're still living in a fallen and cursed world. Not everything's perfect. So I mean, there's a lot of, you know, trials and tribulations, and you know, we got to labor to enter the rest of God. The Scripture says in Hebrew, and then in Acts it says that times of refreshing will come from the Lord. So, you know, and then I guess one cool thing was I was in a hospital with a broken neck years ago, and I was reading this dirt bike magazine, and there was this race, and it was my motorcycle. You know, they're racing a 24-hour race. There's two of them. There are two motorcycles. One is all high performance, the other one is stock. And I just bought this bike.
Yeah.
And I was hoping the high performance one, because I was like more power and, you know, better performance. And but that one didn't work out very well. So that one ended up breaking down. But I saw the guys were Christians, so I said, I'll pray for these guys. So 7 years later, I'm down in California, and some guy leaves a note on my windshield, and it says, hey, I like your bike, let's go riding. So I went riding with these guys in the desert in California, and you know, they're pretty fast, they're going pretty good, and I got to know them. They're Christian guys, they're all my same age, we're all within a few months of each other. There's like 4 or 5 of us all the same age, and they grew up in the deserts in California, you know, and so, you know, I phoned, when I got the note, I phoned him up and said, yeah, I'm just heading back to Canada. I'll be down next winter. I'll give you a call. So, so we went riding all through Big Bear and all kinds of neat trails, and, you know, Malcolm Smith trails, and a lot of neat stuff in California. And then one day we're sitting down having lunch. A couple of years later, I'd been back to Canada, and he started telling me about this race he was in with my bike on this 24-hour race. You know, so it turns out the guy raced pro and everything, and it was the same guys praying for. I read about that magazine, so I'm thinking, well, what are the odds that, you know, you got the population of Canada and Southern California. What are the odds that some guy, you know, I'm praying for strikes a note on my windshield, a random note. It just says, I like your bike, let's go for a ride. You know? And I leave the phone number. And, well, he became a good friend of mine. And then I found out, well, he's the same guy. I'd forgotten, you know, I was still praying for the guys, but I couldn't remember what he looked like or anything, right? And so it turns out that he had kids, and his wife had told him that he had to quit racing because he had kids. And he said, okay, I'll quit when I got 300 trophies or something. So she went and counted him. He had 380, so he had to quit. He's all bummed out. So he bought a dual sport bike, and that's when I showed up. He was looking for guys to ride with. His wife, you know, he just quit racing. So, so I was riding with some pretty fast guys down there. You know, he had the #1 plate. He's undefeated 8 years in a row, and then I show up, and so I was spoiled rotten down there. I got to ride down a really, you know, a lot of cool stuff, and I still talk to him all the time. I was talking to him yesterday, so you know, they're a good bunch of good core group down there in California. So I think he's going to this Harvest Crusade too at Anaheim Stadium this year. So hopefully I can get down there. I don't know. I'll have to fly back down there pretty soon. But.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You bet. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, you take care. You may come back here, right?
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. I might be here.
I come and go, but that kind of stuff, I mean, it sounds kind of weird. You just know God's at work when that kind of stuff happens, but it happens all the time.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff where you run into people, it's like, I remember you. You know, it's like, it's pretty neat how it all works. Yeah, it's beyond coincidence, you know, that God's work is behind this. God's at work, and He's sovereign. He's in control of everything, and He'll see us through the deserts, right? He knows the way through the wilderness, so.
Yeah.
you know, I've been hospitalized a few times. I pulled that big quad and stuff like that, and I keep kind of getting up out of the wheelchair. So, by God's grace, thanks.
Thank you.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting. Yeah, take care.
Yeah.